If you've ever wondered why your money lessons feel so familiar, dare I say karmic, it's probably because they are, all right? The lunar nodes in your chart tell the story of your financial past, your soul's growth curve, and the wealth patterns you came here to master. Today, we're talking about the nodes in your money houses: destiny, debt, and payback. Doesn't that sound like a really great action movie? So, destiny, debt, and payback, and how to work with them instead of against them. So, if you want to know more, stick around. You don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, welcome. Hi, hello. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you are new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So today we're taking things a little spiritual, a little woo-woo, and we're talking about the lunar nodes. Now, specifically, they are the North Node and the South Node. Now, the North Node and the South Node are a whole masterclass in and of themselves, right? And for the sake of this video, I want you to understand that the placement of the North Node and the South Node in your natal chart may or may not contribute to your financial story. The nodes in your natal chart are fixed, right? And so if you've got your nodes in money houses, then money is a very big part of your destiny, or finances. Your financial story is very pronounced in your life. But if you've got the nodes in non-money houses, that kind of means that your it's not that money is a non-motherfucker. It's not that money is a non-motherfucking factor for you. It's that it's not an emphasis, at least not in this incarnation. All right. And so we're talking about how the nodes affect your money story, but in a very deep and profound sort of way. Because when we talk about the nodes, we talk about past life, we talk about the trajectory into the future. Again, very spiritual and woo-woo. All right. So without further ado, let's jump right in. All right. So let's get into your nodes and your money karma. So to start, I want you to think about and meditate on this core idea. The North Node shows your soul's growth direction. It's what you're meant to learn. So it's your trajectory. It's the path that you are on, right? And that you're moving forward on. In contrast, the South Node shows your comfort zone, which you've already mastered, but may rely on too heavily. I like to think of your South Node as your default. Your North Node requires you to stretch and to grow and to acquire characteristics or traits that may not be natural to you. Whereas the South Node is what you incarnated into this life with. So it's your innate abilities. And when push comes to shove, you typically rely on those innate abilities, AKA your South Node, as your default. So that's essentially what I mean by that. All right. When either of these fall in your second or eighth houses, you are meant to evolve your relationship with money, worth, and power. Okay. So again, you may not have your North Node or your South Node in a money house. And for the sake of this video, I'm only going to be talking about the second house and the eighth house because those are the direct money houses. But if you don't have your nodes in the second or eighth house, it's still worth listening to because it'll just give you some more information and show you how the nodes work generally. So you can apply that same sort of framework to wherever the nodes are in your natal chart. All right, so let's talk about the nodes in the second house, eighth house axis, okay? Now, keep in mind, if you didn't know this already, the second house and the eighth house are actually opposite each other. They are along the same axis. That's why the second house deals with your finances and the eighth house deals with other people's finances. Second house is income. Eighth house is outcome and debt, right? Just wanted to reiterate that. So let's say you've got your North Node in the second house. This signifies learning self-sufficiency, confidence, and personal earning power. Everything about the North Node in your second house was to empower you financially and self-worth wise. Destiny equals mastering independence and valuing your own resources. Now, your past life pattern is over reliance on others, emotional or financial enmeshment. So let's break that down. Essentially, if you've got your North Node in the second house, that means that you have your South Node in the eighth house. Everything that the North Node is trying to teach you is like financial independence, valuing yourself, making your own money. South Node in the eighth house is like you rely on other people's money all the time. That's your default. So everything in life is pushing you to financial independence. Let's say that. Okay. Next, let's say you have your South Node in the second house. This requires letting go of material security attachments, learning deeper trust and emotional intimacy. Your past life comfort equals hoarding, over control, or fear of loss. For you, destiny is surrendering control and learning the flow of shared energy. So if you've got South Node in the second house, that's sort of the opposite of what I just said before. South Node in the second house means that you are very comfortable standing on your own 2 feet and having financial independence. If you got your North Node in the eighth house, that's like you are learning to trust other people and rely on other people's money. You know, when you think about other people's money, oftentimes we think of like a sugar daddy, or we think of, at least women, we think of a man being a provider, right? But when you look under the surface of that, shared resources requires trust. If you are married to someone and you have a joint bank account, you need to trust that that person is not going to run off with your money or spend it foolishly, right? There's trust there. And everything in life, especially if you've got your North Node in the eighth house, is getting you to trust others and rely on them when it comes to your resources. It may even have you being comfortable or getting comfortable with debt, with incurring debt, right? That's everything that the North Node in the eighth house sort of has to offer. And then speaking of which, going further with North Node in the eighth house, this signifies growth through collaboration, trust, and shared investments. When it comes to your destiny as an eighth house North Noder, it means learning that money expands when you combine resources, not isolate. Now, the eighth house is a tricky house because it could be a house of shared resources and trust and intimacy. It could also be a dark house that has fear and manipulation. So the shadow side of North Node in the eighth house, issues concerning control, fear of dependency, or avoidance of deep emotional connection. Okay. So either way, when it comes to North Node in the second house and eighth house, and South Node in the second house and eighth house, it's really about financial independence on the one hand, financial codependency, standing alone, isolation versus commingling of funds and collaboration, dependency and autonomy, building financial foundations either by yourself, aka North Node in the second house, or with a partner or with others, aka North Node in the eighth house. So I hope this really made sense in terms of that second and eighth house axis, and how if you have the nodes in either of these, how that plays out for your financial stories. All right. So that's if you have the North Node and the South Node in the second and eighth house natally, meaning that's how your natal, that's where they are in your natal chart. But now let's talk about when the nodes activate by transit. So the nodes move just like planets. The nodes are in different places in the sky. So currently the North Node, as I film this video, the North Node is in Pisces. Maybe you don't have North Node in Pisces in your natal chart. Maybe you have it in Gemini or someplace else. When the North Node and thereby the South Node move in the sky, they can ping and activate other planets or even your natal North and South Node in your natal chart. And that's when the nodes activate by transit. So when this happens, You can expect big financial turning points, karmic payoffs, unexpected debts, or faded opportunities. These are course correct moments. The universe is balancing give and take. Okay. Now, I also want to mention here, if you didn't know, eclipses are tied to the nodes. So, you know how eclipses tell an 18-month story between two signs? It's that tag team kind of energy. The eclipses happen at the current nodes. Okay, the eclipses are tied to the nodes, and that will only serve to amplify these lessons. So you can kind of go back and watch the eclipse video and how that affects your finances and sort of relate it to the nodes as well. The eclipses happen by transit, like at a point in time. Whereas your natal north and south node, especially if you have them in the second and eighth houses, it talks about the financial lessons you are designed to learn, the karma that you are designed to experience. So hopefully all of that makes sense. And if it doesn't, either put your question in, you can put your question in the comments below or join us over in Join us over in Cosmic Collective, where I'll be going live this week and you can answer questions all about the nodes, eclipses, and anything else that I've been talking about during this series. All right, so now let's get into some quick integration tips and why this all even matters. All right, so the nodes show why your financial story unfolds the way that it does. Perhaps you're someone who has a lot of financial hardship, or perhaps you're someone who's always catching a lucky break financially. The nodes in your natal chart, specifically if you have them in your money houses, will speak to those stories. It will tell you why things happen the way that they do. South node is what feels familiar but keeps you small. Okay? Remember, I said it's your default. When push comes to shove, rather than expand and grow and experience things that are uncomfortable, you default to your south node. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that it keeps you limited and it keeps you further away from sort of where you're headed. Whereas your north node typically feels uncomfortable but leads to evolution. Okay, and when you lean into your north node lessons, money starts aligning with purpose. And of course, if you've been watching this series, you know that that is everything. Everything about what I'm teaching you is about alignment. It's about your particular financial story and how astrology can help you understand that. And the nodes are no exception. Inside my signature natal chart experience, the blueprint, I help you decode the north and south nodes in your chart, especially when they fall in your money houses. So you can turn karmic lessons into conscious growth. When you know better, you do better. And if you know where the nodes are, specifically if you know you have them in your money houses, I will tell you how to best work with the energy and what you can expect. All right. And when you're ready to learn how to identify and interpret your own money destiny, my self-paced course Charted will guide you step by step through reading the key points in your chart. All right, that is launching later this month. If you'd like to join the waitlist to know exactly when it drops, the link will be in the description box below. And if you're ready to take things to the next level with the blueprint, the first step is to book a free 15-minute clarity call where we will discuss whether the blueprint is right for you and if so, how to get started. So the link to the clarity call and the waitlist for Charted are both in the description box below. All right, my loves, that's pretty much all I've got for you for this video on the nodes and how they affect your financial story. So to recap, the nodes in your money houses reveal where you've been financially and where your soul wants you to grow next. Your north node is all about your destiny and where you're headed. And your south node is what you're incarnated into this life with and what you fall back on as your default. All right. So don't forget, take the Abundance Archetype quiz. Link is in the description box below. If you've got questions, concerns, and you want to know more, join us over in Cosmic Collective for this week's live Q&A. And of course, don't forget to enter the giveaway where I will be giving away up to 3 blueprint experiences, right? And everything that you need to know is in the description box below. All right. So this video concludes week 3, where we spoke about Jupiter, Saturn, and timing when it comes to your financial story. So tomorrow we're kicking off week 4, where we'll dive into some integration tips and strategy. That's going to be extra juicy information. All right. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. Set notifications, subscribe, and hit that notification, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I drop tomorrow's video. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.